flag. I know a lot of people may wonder why we are addressing this issue at this time. And we are addressing it because there's a national movement to address it. Our leading U.S. congressmen have asked that, feel that the state flag needs to be changed, that it is a symbol of a division and that it should be changed. But man, before we get into discussion, Sharon, I would like for the city attorney to read the resolution out loud so that everyone will understand exactly what the resolution says. Say and understand what this resolution
you want
is.
to comments, read it, yes, so everybody can hear.
So everybody can hear and understand what they're doing.
What we're going to do is have Miss Mary read the resolution, and before we do action, I know a lot of you here are here tonight about this, and we're going to have some comments, but I want to make some, I want to talk to you before we make comments. So Miss Mary, would you read this?
It says, resolution of the city of Grenada, Mississippi, supporting the removal of the Confederate flag from all city properties. Whereas the city council of the city of Grenada stands in alliance with other municipal, county, state, and national officials, call for the removal or redesign of the Mississippi State Confederate flag. And whereas the Confederate States of America use the battle flag and other imagery as a symbol of the Confederate Armed Forces during the Civil War in an attempt to preserve the institution of slavery. And whereas since the end of the Civil War, the Confederate flag, Confederate battle flag, and other imagery, I can't pronounce that word, imagery, of the Confederacy have been adopted by groups such as the Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacists as a symbol of hate with intent to antagonize, terrorize, and cause harm to certain groups of people. And whereas the Mississippi State flag is commonly flown in governmental public service locations and military-related entities, and its public display is a constant reminder of negative connotations that are interpreted differently by different groups or people based on individual unique experiences. And whereas this council duly respects the individual beliefs and rights of citizens and residents of this city and state, we deem it necessary to dispel these images that offend and insult many members of the general public who use and conduct businesses at public facilities on a daily basis. And whereas it is the duty of this board to consider and implement the procedures and practices to promote goodwill in the best interest of not only the residents, but the visitors to this great city and state as well. Now therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and city council of the city of Grenada, Mississippi, that we stand firmly in agreement with U.S. Senators Roger Wicker and Thane Cochran, U.S. Congressman Benny Thompson, Mississippi Speaker of the House Philip Gunn, and other locally elected officials, along with the national public outcry that the Mississippi State flag be removed from all city public facilities until the democratic process allows for a new flag, state flag to be created or displayed. So resolved by the City Council.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Let me, I know we've got a big crowd here tonight, and I know you've come for this reason. Let me lay some groundwork. This is not a public hearing, but I do want to give anyone a chance to make comment. I know this is a situation where it's a fragile situation. There's two sides to this situation, and I just want you to know that you know, some people feel this way, some people feel that way. But I want to make sure this is going to be handled in an orderly fashion. That one thing that I have as mayor, I have the authority to make sure the council meeting is done professionally and run professionally and right. So I've asked for security here tonight. Security is all around. I do want you to have an opportunity to say what's on your mind. I certainly don't want it to be any irate. If we're mad, we can go outside. And, I know that two sides can get upset. I realize that, folks. And I found out it doesn't do any good. Doesn't do any good. I found that out in the school system. I had to deal with a lot of mad parents. And if I got mad with them, guess what? We didn't solve problems. So, regardless of how you feel, state how you feel. If you support or don't support. If you want to give reasons, that's fine. But I don't want any name calling, anything that's non-professional will not be accepted here tonight. I just want you to tell how you feel and nicely as you possibly can, because this council we'll see how it goes tonight and what happens. But and I'll tell you when you get through, I'll tell you how I feel, so you'll know how the mayor of Grenada feels when you leave here tonight, and this council will know how I feel about the issue, because you put me here and I feel like you need to know how I feel. But I don't vote, okay, only in case of a tie. That's seldom happens. But anyway, you will know how I feel about the issue when you leave tonight. So, we cannot give you, we'll be here all night. If each one of you takes 3 minutes, we'll be at in the morning. So I'd like for you to be as brief as you can, make your point, stand and make your point, and we don't need to do any of this, and, just that doesn't accomplish a thing, just everybody has a right to their opinion. And that's what I want you to have, that right, to say what's on your mind, and that this council make the decision. Am I with you? Am I trying to be as nice as I know how to be to you tonight? All right, so why don't we, anybody that would, I know some of you called, you couldn't get through, you couldn't get on the book, so what I'm going to do is look at what we have, and then the ones of you didn't get on here to call, I want you to have an opportunity. And if you don't want to come to the podium with a big crowd, and you want to stand where you are for the sake of time, and say, I'm so-and-so, I support it, or I'm not for it, or the reasons why, then that's what we're here for. Okay? All right. Tom Abernathy, is Tom Abernathy here? He signed the book. That's Dr. Abernathy. Dr. Thomas Abernathy, you cannot, I'm not going to let you speak over 3 minutes, okay? That's the policy of the council, because if we go for 10, 15 minutes apiece, we won't sleep in it tonight. So, Dr. Abernathy, welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the City Council for allowing me to speak. And at the same time, I want to apologize for wasting your time, because I think this is a waste of time. The flag issue was settled a few years ago by the vote statewide. And unless we plan on succeeding from the state of Mississippi and forming our own state, we abide by the state law. And the state law says that's the flag. If you want to change it, we need to go to state level and vote for a statewide change, not just our own whims. I fully agree with our new tourism committee. We need to make Grenada a better place to draw people in here, not cause division and rifts. Why would somebody want to move here instead of New Albany, Kosciuszko, or Aberdeen? We need to have reason for them to want to move here. And a lot of what I've seen does not want to draw people to Grenada. I have a vested interest in here. I've got a business and I make my living here. And I'd like to see Grenada a more welcome place for people to come and have a reason to come. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Why don't we record the names of the ones speaking here? Can you do that, Dr. Thomas Abernathy? Jeremy Pittman. Jeremy A. Pittman. Jeremy, welcome tonight.
Well, good evening, Mayor. To the mayor and the council and the fellow Grenadians. First, I want to say good evening. Thank you, Councilman Johnson, for your leadership regarding this issue. I don't have opportunity to speak out a lot of issues. I'm typically quiet when a lot of things are going on. However, this is a very polarizing issue. I am in support of Councilman Johnson's resolution. The thing about it is, just people are correct when they said that we took this up about 14 years ago. The will of the public changes. It happens every day. I don't believe that we should keep a banner that has been perverted and that has been used in such a negative way that other organizations now utilize it as a symbol of hate. It is not representative of what we are in the state. Grenada is a city that smiles. We should be doing things to bring individuals forward. I will say to the councilman here tonight, I will say to the folks in the audience tonight, our children are watching us very, very carefully. When you have something with such of a terrible history, and a lot of people don't know the history. A lot of folks go on Facebook, see what somebody else said, and adopt that as their own belief. Research it for yourself. But I will tell you, folks are watching us very, very carefully in Grenada Mississippi. I think we need to change it. I think we should come together and move this city forward so we can then begin to do some other positive things as well. So with that being said, I thank Councilman Johnson for his leadership.
Jeremy, thank you. John E. Little, John here. John's a farmer. John, welcome tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What's the name?
Little, John Little.
Johnny Little. I just want to thank for the opportunity to be able to speak my mind. I'm of the same feelings that the other guy that was here. We've already voted on this thing. I am very definitely not a racial person at all. I don't like those connotations, but it's a part of our history, whether we like it or not. I don't really like it, but it's a part of us, and we can't get rid of it just by taking the flag down. But what bothers me, if we can do this, somebody can just do that on a whim, and everybody's going to take it down. Well, what's the next flag? The United States flag. So that's my opinion. We've already voted. If we're going to do it, let's do it again. Have another vote, then we can get rid of it. That's my
Thank you,
opinion.
Johnny.
All right.
Johnny E. Little. Billy Meredith. Is Billy here? Billy Meredith. He signed the book. Billy Meredith. Gary Clinton. I believe I saw Gary here. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm not accustomed to public speaking. I apologize. I get very nervous. This is well out of my comfort zone. But under the circumstances, I thought it was justified. I, for one, I have lived here in Grenada 25 years now in Grenada County. Been in Mississippi almost all my life. And, you know, I think we have, I understand a lot of people are against the Confederate battle flag symbol being a part of our flag. Personally, when all of this came up, I did a little research looking around at what the other 50 states' flags were. And honestly, I think we have one of the top 10 most beautiful designs that are out there. There's some that are very nice. There's some, and I know it's a matter of opinion and a matter of where you live. And I, for one, I think we have a beautiful flag. I would hate to see us change ours to something like, say, New Mexico. I mean, that doesn't do much for me.
You lost it.
Ah, sorry. There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, not much to it. I tried, it really saddens me to see how much of a big, huge issue that a lot of people are making out of this all the way around our nation, when there are so many more important things that need to be taken care of. I agree. We need unification. We need to end anything racial. We all need to get along. But I ask the question, in the states that have already taken down or changed their flag. Has it improved anything there? Has the crime rate gone down? Is the homeless situation any better? Are there more jobs? How has it changed? Has it changed? I mean, we have a lot of more important issues that need to be addressed in this day and age. My biggest fear is, like Johnny said before, if we're going to change that or do away with it, what's next? Our nation's flag? Possibly. I'm sure everyone in here has seen on some form of social media in the past month, people, Americans, burning our flag, jumping them down on it, defacing it, defiling it, because they're sick and tired of it. Well, you're here. You know, if you don't like this country, you can leave. You can move somewhere else. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, but last time I read, it was a law that you could not burn our flag. And I have seen video after video on social media of groups of people burning and celebrating the United States of America flag. And officers, good police officers, standing by doing nothing, not enforcing the law. Why? What's next? We're going to get rid of our flag? What are we going to replace it with? That's where we're headed, fellas. That's where we're headed.
Gary, thank you, Gary, for being with us tonight. Larry Lee, did I see Larry here? Larry, do you want to comment where you want to just comment from where you are? If you want to come to the podium, whatever you want to do.
I'll do. Everybody look around in here, each other. There's not a person in here that has ever owned a slave, nor have you been a slave. But if you look at the stars and the stripes as a Confederate flag, we are a Southern people, black or white. Let's come together and let's show this nation that we have resilience. We fight under a flag that is ours. Remember the Buffalo Soldiers? They were a regiment of all black fighters in the Civil War who fought under this flag for us. Regardless who has told you, instilled in your brains what this flag has meant in the past, go to your history. You read and you study what history did. We can't change things that we want. You can't change things that happened into your life last week that you wish had never happened. But as a Southern people, we don't want to give in to some Northern aggression. You know, Washington is on us already. We have been blackballed since 1964. Let's don't have it anymore. Let's as a people stand up, because the cross during the Civil War meant that we were a resilient people. We were there to fight. We were not going to give in to Northern aggression. We did not want Northerners coming down here telling us how we are to live and the way we wanted to be governed. That's just what's going on right now in our country. Don't give this up, folks. Understand what it's all about. Let's be a people. Let's don't be divided. Study your history. Let's don't repeat it. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
They said no clapping, didn't it?
Larry, you don't do preaching, do
They
you?
said no clapping. Didn't it say no clapping?
Let me ask anyone that's here that would like to say something. That's all, okay? Stand and just stand where you are, unless you'd like to tell us your name and just tell us your feeling.
Mr. Mayor, my name is Keith Howard. I moved here to Grenada last August. I'm a 22-year veteran of the United States Army of this country. The American flag I wore on my shoulder for 7 years, and I fought for this country. Then I come back home, which is my state, Mississippi, and now I'm still dealing with issues as racism that I fought for me to be free. I want to be free of the racism and the hatred, not because of the color of my skin, but of the character of my conduct. If I am measured by the character of my conduct, then the Confederate battle flag on the state of Mississippi flag wouldn't be an issue. If I was governed by my character of my conduct and not the color of my skin, then when we talk about history, then let's talk about the 7 years or the 7 wars or 8 wars that I've been in for this country in order for you to stand here and say that there's nothing wrong with the Confederate flag in the state of Mississippi. Yes, it is something wrong with it, because when I was in Iraq, I was shot at because I had the American flag on my shoulder. I was shot at, I was stabbed, I was doing things for this country because of the American flag, not because I was from Mississippi, not because I'm from the South, not because I am black. I did that because I'm a patriot of this country, and I love to be treated as a patriot, just like many of you in here who enjoy that freedom of being treated as a patriot. The Confederate flag talks about history. Yes, it is our history that we have had slaves. Yes, it is our history, me personally, having to drink out of a Negro water fountain. And 22 years of my life I gave to this country, which is half the time that I've been here on God's green earth. So in my lifetime, I've drunk out of colored water fountain. In my lifetime, I had to sit in the doctor's office waiting to be seen because of the color of my skin. When I have done these things and still serve this country in order for not only me, but even those that do want that Confederate flag to be flown, to give you that right and freedom to do so. Why then is it an infringement on me because I'm asking for it to be taken down? Why?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. John Latham. All right.
Man, a few words.
Good evening, Council. I do thank you for this opportunity, and matter of fact, I wrote down what I was going to say so that I will be brief. But I first have to apologize to my wife, if you're watching, baby. This morning I received a message that says to me, are you going to the council meeting tonight, and will you or can you be a voice of reason? I said, I don't know. My wife said, don't say a word. But after hearing these comments here tonight, I'm sorry, baby, I got to do this. We need to understand our history, all of us here. We're descendants of slaves and slave owners. When we fail to reconcile that fact, we tend to be divided on issues like this. For those who say that this flag is part of your heritage, I understand that. For those who say that their ancestors fought and died for this flag, I understand that. I understand all that. And you should be proud of your heritage. You should. It's not you. If your family fought for something, you should absolutely be proud of it. But if we are to move forward as a city, as a community, and indeed as a nation, we must understand that we must understand what the stars and bars mean to most people of color, particularly African Americans. Your flag has been hijacked. It was hijacked by those who use it as a symbol of hate, terrorism, and oppression. Dylan Roof used it as a justification to murder 9 fellow AME parishioners in South Carolina. And I am an AME, so I felt that personally. When President Obama stood up and sung Amazing Grace, it was our bishop, Bishop Julian McAllister, who stood up right behind him and applauded that effort. I was very proud of that fact. Since then, there's been a nationwide movement to remove that symbol of hate. As Grenadians, we should ask ourselves, how do we want to be viewed? How do we want the world to view us? Do we want to fight each other to hold on to symbols of divisions? Or do we want to be the change that we want to see? I say we stand behind those who have called for our flag to be changed, including many of our state leaders, Republicans and Democrats alike. Let us set examples for our children so that future generations won't think that it's okay to have these separate baseball leagues. They think it's okay now. Neither one of them has ever won the real Dizzy Dean championship, but together, imagine how strong our kids can be. Imagine how our community would be viewed by the world. Imagine how our state is going to be viewed by the world when an effort is made to remove that hateful symbol from our flag. That don't represent who we are as people.
No.
It don't represent who we are as people. So I'll conclude by saying we must take advantage of this opportunity to improve our state. And I do thank you, Council, and I thank you for having the courage and initiative to be a leader on this effort. Because we need to be remembered as somebody who did something positive. And I thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyone else would like to comment?
Yeah, I would. I heard several people, excuse me, good evening.
Good evening.
I love every one of you.
Stanley Burrow.
I ain't got no better sense of love every one of you enough to tell you the truth. I've heard people say we need to check the history. Well, I did. And when the flag was created, from the last stitch, it was said to be a white flag. Now, that's a sign of terrorism, slavery. It really is. I don't really care whether it goes up or down, but that's what it is. It's no worse than the Germans flying the swastika. Because, I mean, people were hung under that flag. They were burned under that flag. Their houses and crops were burned and chased off under that flag. Who that loves everybody would say, I got to hold on to that. That's enough.
Thanks, Stanley. Anyone else would like to make a comment? Yes, ma'am. Tammy Johnson.
Tammy Johnson. Mr. Mayor, City Council, I'd like to ask, is this resolution set in stone, or are we going to be allowed to vote?
Tammy, I think if I can answer that, the vote's already been taken back in, what, 2001 or whatever.
Exactly, and that vote was to keep the flag. Are you saying you're going to ban our flag?
Are you speaking?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Since you have the opportunity to answer that, there comes a time when right and wrong is not an issue that is decided by a popular vote. You can't right any wrong because it's popular by the majority of the people. To take a vote on the issue that has the moral capacity to deal with people's life, to simply say that a popular vote would make that decision. Sure. You don't do that. God would not allow for us to act that way towards each other. If I do you wrong, if wrong is wrong, there's no popular vote that can change that fact. You cannot change wrong by having a popular vote. This is the time for leadership. See, when you look back through our history, in the 60s, if segregation was put up for a popular vote, segregation would have prevailed. If drinking from separate water fountains would have been put up for a separate vote in the 60s, drinking from separate water fountains would have prevailed. So I'm saying these are the type issues that are not mandated by a popular vote.
I'm asking, are you banning our flag?
Am I what?
Are we going to get to vote, or are you going to, as of tonight, do away with our flag? I'm asking
I
that.
came here tonight to vote on a resolution.
Do the people of Grenada get to vote?
Listen to me. I came here tonight to vote on a resolution to support the effort that our U.S. congressmen have put forward, our U.S. senators have put forward, that the House Representative, Speaker of the House, has put forward. And also, let me put this up on you.
Okay.
The great-great-grandson of Jefferson Davis himself, who was president of the Confederacy, have came forward and stated that this emblem need to be removed from our state flag and need to be taken down.
Okay.
Now, it's not rational to remove the rebel flag, the Confederate battle flag, from a flag post and then allow it to remain upon a state emblem that is supposed to be representative of everyone. So to answer your question, I will vote for a resolution that is encouraging and promoting that effort for to have this flag changed.
So, as of tonight,
Tammy,
yeah, make it clear for me because,
that question will be answered in a little while.
okay, my other question is, if we change this flag, if we ban this flag, are we gonna change the hate in our hearts? Are we?
Ought to.
Are we gonna change the hate in our hearts? Is that gonna take away racism? Is it gonna take away the hate that people have in their hearts?
We can't change people's heart, but we can change the symbol
And that's gonna
in
take
which
away
by people
racism.
promote that type of difference.
I am opposed.
I understand, and this is the form that we're allowing you and others to have that conversation. So I'm not here, I didn't come to debate the flag.
Because the decision is made. Okay, thank you.
All right, just to make comments, if you would, I recognize Wayman Scarberry in the back.
Yeah, Wayman Scarberry. Councilman Johnson, does that mean that if we're pulling out of the state of Mississippi because we're not honoring the flag, does that mean then that y'all gonna send the checks back that you get from the state every month, sales tax and all? By the way, aren't you a state employee?
No, I used to be a state employee.
But you get the ERS, right?
I sure
Are
am.
you gonna send it back because you don't agree with what the state does?
No, I'm not, because you said the key word. I work for the state, I earn it.
But it's, you
I'm
still get
just
the money
saying, but
from
you
the
said the
state.
key word, I earn it.
You know, now, you wanna talk about history, let's talk about some history. In 1654, in Hampton County, New York, first slave was owned by a black person. He went to court in Hampton County, New York, and got permission to keep him enslaved forever. That was 300 years before the Civil War. So that means that the slaves was captured in Africa. They were bought they were bought by Dutch merchants, bought to the United States and sold. It was wrong. I guarantee you, my parents didn't own these, my grandparents didn't own these. I'm part Choctaw and part Cherokee. Yeah. But for 300 years, you could say the same thing about the American flag that you're saying about the Mississippi or the battle flag of
That is true. I agree with that. That is
Mississippi.
true.
Because for 300 years, they allowed slavery. And it was because the merchants up north was selling them to the people down south. Now,
You're about to run out of time, Wayman.
I know.
But they didn't use that for terror.
We all have things that we would regret. There's a lot of us in this room regret what happened in the past. We can't change. Okay? But, you know, you need to be appreciative. We can all get hate, and we don't need hate in our hearts. You know, that's where we got to change. Not the flag, but change our hearts. One to the other. But you know, you should be, remember the past, but if they hadn't done that to you, ancestors and all, and they lived through hell, I guarantee you.
Women,
But you would have still been over there today if it hadn't happened. So that's history.
let me tell you. All right, let me start. Anyone else?
Where would you have been?
Mr. George Mullet.
I've had enough of this.
Anyone else would like to speak tonight?
Well, what to
Brad Wayne, where would he have been?
Lady in the back.
For years.
Sue Kirk.
I know that our two senators from the state in Washington DC made the comments that they think that our flag should be changed. At the moment, the law states that flag right there is our state flag until the day that it is voted on and changed. And I don't think that we as one little bitty bitty town has the right to take it down in our area and the rest of the state be able to fly. That if they vote in the state to change that flag, they come up with something different, then that's fine. But for us to just sit here and bounce this around is not going to change anything. We've got to get ourselves right in our hearts and with God before anybody can love anybody. And it's got to be done on both sides. It can't be done on one side. But they did state that they wanted a change in the flag. Okay, so now let's wait and see what that change is going to be. And when they vote on it and we get it, then we change it along with the rest of the state. We don't stand here and do something different for the rest of them.
That's what this is about.
Thank you, Ms. Sue.
Mayor,
Just-
I don't know if you really understand how changes occur, but they start because people raise issues. This isn't the end of anything, but it is the beginning of a dialogue in the state. A dialogue that's not only happening in Grenada, but it's happening in other parts of the state where people are raising the issue. It's really not going to be discussed if people are really afraid to look at a future that doesn't have this hateful symbol in it. What are we afraid of in terms of crafting a new future? And how do you think that we got out of the racial condition that we had from 1600 to now? Because somebody stood up and said, I'm frustrated with flying under a symbol that's a terrorist symbol. And if I drive out in Graceport Crossing and see enough of them, I know I'm in a dangerous place today. I mean, let's just be real clear about what it does represent right now in Grenada County to people who are lost out anywhere away from lights. It's still a symbol of terror today. And it's important that somebody has the voice to say that. That whether we like it or not, is still a source of tension, and we are going to talk about it. Whether we vote it down or up, the discussion is happening in Mississippi.
All right, thank you.
And no, let me finish. And it shouldn't be an offense to anyone. It shouldn't be an offense to me to hear your history. It shouldn't be an offense to you. We are hoping to craft a future. And we can't do that if we're afraid to talk about it. And if we're going to hate each other for having the open discussion that everybody else around the world has been waiting on us to have about a future that does not include symbols of violence and terror to control our behavior. Now I'm through.
That's what we have tonight, dialogue, and I'm going to tell you how I feel, and I feel different from some other folks. But anyway, we'll hear that shortly. Anyone else want to comment? I see a young lady that raised her hand. Tell us to Selena Hayward.
I just want to let you know that there was a petition started today.
A petition started today.
Change.org to keep the flag over Grenada, and it's had over 1,000 signatures on it.
I haven't even, I'm gonna use
It's a partial list, you can access it on change.org, search for Grenada. I don't think that the city
Not
council
interested.
has the right to vote and take our flag down. There's no way that we can get an even vote as it is right here, so we lost out. like Ms. Sue said, if the state wants to change it, that's fine, we'll take the vote then on a new design, but it is not for the city council to decide, to take it down until then. And Mr. Leon Johnson, I think your philosophy on the flag is a copy.
All right, any other comment, council? I mean, if you've already spoken.
I have one thing to say. There's another symbol that a lot of people would like to get rid of, and that's the cross. Now, are we gonna let them get rid of that because it offends somebody? We have a lot of atheists in the United States, and when they start saying, get rid of the cross, are we gonna stand up and fight for that?
Thank you. Jerome Boudreaux. Councilman Merriman. Yeah.
You know, I knew this was going to come up when I saw it on the agenda. I didn't realize it was going to come up as soon as it did, but it's something that we're going to have to address because it's too high profile an item, it seems like, in the country now. But I do think that my feelings on it are the fact that I believe that it's going about it the wrong way. I think that it ought to be put on the ballot. We've got an election coming up next year. And let the people that sit out there, that have put us up here on this council, that have do all the working and living and dying and paying taxes in this city, have the opportunity to make this decision. It's my opinion on it, and I think it's a fair way to do it. The state of Mississippi thought it was a fair way to do it. I'm not saying anything about that, if they take it away or not, but the people of the city of Grenada ought to be able to make the decision of what they want to keep. It's not prolonged for very long. And that way, wherever it comes out that way, it'll be fine. But at least they will have gotten their votes. That's all I have.
Look, I want everybody to leave here with a sense of unity and love tonight, regardless of what happens. You know, we all have our say so. Councilman Hargrove, Councilman Merriman, Councilman, everybody. You've had a chance, and I'm still giving you a chance. But everybody got their opinion, and we state our opinion, and that's it, folks. Anybody else comment out there? Let me, Larry, I've already let you talk.
I know, but Mr. Johnson made a statement that bothered.
Larry, let's put it on.
No, the deal is, he made a statement about democracy.
Yeah, Larry.
Going away democracy, that ain't right.
Larry, anyone else would like to speak? Larry, you're out of order. Young man in the yellow shirt.
In regard to the cross statement, the cross never hurt anybody. The cross was a symbol of unity, like this flag of Mississippi should be. People are saying our flag is our flag. That's not our flag. I'm not going to claim a flag that won't claim me. The University of Mississippi, or Ole Miss, had a symbol for years. They had a mascot for years that was found offensive to certain groups of people. So somebody in leadership decided that it was time for a change. They changed the mascot because they saw that it was separating everybody. So what Mr. Johnson is doing, as far as trying to cause unity in the city that he's on the board for, I applaud you for that effort. Thank you.
What's your name, young man?
My name is Ken Thompson.
You get that name. Let me see if anybody else, for council members, have an opportunity to say something.
Excuse me, Mayor. I heard a lot of people, and some have not said that citizens should have a right to vote on this issue. But there have been businesses brought into this town that the city is funding that the citizens didn't vote on. If we're gonna vote on one issue, let's vote on them all. And that have to start with the council. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? I don't want you to leave here tonight saying I didn't give you an opportunity to speak.
Didn't the South lose?
Council, you got somebody? Council?
First of all, I just want
Let me have to have order now.
I just want to pay my respect to all the servicemen who have served abroad in both from abroad and our native soil. We have fought Civil War as well as National War. We fought for the North and we fought for the South. In the Civil War, there were actually brothers fighting brothers, and family members fighting family members for because they were fighting for something that they truly believed in. Whether it was believing in the South way of thinking or believing, or whether it was the Northern way. But it happened right here in these United States of America. So I just want to honor them and to let them know that this is not any black or anything negative toward those who serve. You know, we want to be respectful in what we do and even in what we say. Because just as all of us have different views and we're very passionate about it, but there are blacks who served in the Civil War who honor and support the rebel flag. There are whites who fought in the Civil War who do not honor and support the Confederate flag. So I think it goes way beyond the race from which we are beginning to try to make it seem as though that's what it is. I want to submit to you guys that it isn't kind of ironic how during the same time that this was going on in the United States, the Supreme Court slid right up on our noses the gay right to marriage. Do we not see the distraction that's going on? We over here worried about a flag. But when the Supreme Court made a decision that threatens, I believe, 98% of our beliefs, I don't see the outcry for that. I don't see no one rallying for that. But we here having this great big debate, and rightfully so, for a flag. Whether it stay up or whether it goes down, it's not going to change how you and I feel. It's going to really enhance the emotion that we all experiencing right now. And if you're experiencing prejudice, it's going to only enhance that. If you're experiencing hate, it's going to only enhance that. If it stay up, it's going to enhance those who feel that it should come down. It's going to enhance that bitterness and that resentment and that hatred. If it come down, those who feel like it should stay up, it's going to enhance those same kinds of emotions. So really, what have we accomplished? Really nothing. All along, while our religious beliefs are being stripped from us. Do we not see what's really going on? That's just a distraction to take our eyes off what's really going on in this world. So that's just my personal opinion. Now, as a politician, I am in support of this resolution because my constituents support to take it down or this resolution. But my personal belief, it doesn't matter to me whether they stay up or whether they go down. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I don't have a whole lot to say, but everybody keeps talking about what's right and what's wrong, and about not changing people's hearts and all that. This is a moral thing. Somebody said something about, is it going to help the homeless, the crime rate? It has nothing to do with that.
That's right.
It's not creating homelessness, it's not creating crime, or nothing like that. What it is creating a moral problem with the people that have to live under it. Like Mr. Howard over there, I came up in the era when there was no way I would sit up here on this council, or that I had to go in the back of restaurants and all that. And I knew black people that owned businesses, and because a white person owned it, they had to go in the back door to collect their rent. You know, and all this stuff is because we still want to hold on to something that's not any good. We holding on to the past. The past is not, it's never going to come back. You go around, you fight the Confederate battles over and over and over again, it's not going to change. You lost, the war was won by the North. This young man, older man, sit here and say something about northern aggression. This is the United States of America. I fought for this country too. There's no such thing as northern aggression. This is a country. This is a solid country. We're not divided anymore.
That's right.
The Civil War is over with. This is one country, no matter where you live in it at. If you live in Alaska, Hawaii, wherever, this is the United States of America. There's no such thing as northern aggression. Then we trying to divide the country again. We can't fight the Civil War over again. It's not going to ever be fought over again. And you can play with it all you want to. It's never going to change. It's history. Now the flag needs to be history. It really needs to be history. You know, just like in South Carolina where they took it down and they put it in a museum, and that's where it belongs. It's part of the Confederate history, just like the Confederate memorials that we have around here. Nobody's talking about taking those down or moving them. That's part of the history of this state. And because you live in the state of Mississippi, you are part of that history. There's nothing we can do to change that, but we don't need to be flying this flag because it hurts people's feelings. It hurt my feelings because I got beat back in the days trying to integrate school. And then for somebody to sit here and I'm gonna say, I know you know what you said, but said 1964, the Northern Aggression. 1964, the Voting Rights Act came in, right? When everything started to change, segregation was being done away with. That means that you want things to go back to the way they were.
Yep.
And they will never be that way again, sir. Never in this world will they ever be that way. People don't have that mindset anymore. And you could never put people back in slavery again because they've had a taste of freedom. We have our own culture back. We have our own language. You can't divide us like that anymore. So there's no such thing as Northern aggression. The flag needs to go. I mean, it's just that simple. And for everybody out there, you can look at us up here and you can say, them black guys are going to take that flag down. You can't, how can you sit here and think that a black person, a black man, would sit up and vote to keep this flag? I mean, a black man going to sit up and keep something that's so oppressive to him. That man said about the first slave was owned by black people. They were. And they were called indentured servants until that man went and changed it. He wanted to have that person forever. That's all well and good, but that doesn't have anything to do with this flag. Slaves were in Rome and everywhere else, but they don't have them anymore. And they're not trying to remind people of them. The swastika is gone. You can't pay anybody to go over and try to raise the swastika in Germany. If we started putting a swastika on this flag and had Jewish people in here, you'd have a riot. Because they're not going to sit up and let you oppress them like that or remind them of what happened to their ancestors. So all I'm saying is that don't expect us to sit here in all good conscience and think that we would even think about keeping that flag. You know, and we already know what's going to happen up here. It's going to be a 4-3 vote. And so be it. That's the way it works.
Any other comment, council? Yes. Have order now.
There's one that expressed their opinion tonight, and that's fine too. And the fact has been made, and Councilman Johnson, Councilman Wilson, now. But the fact remains that in 2001, we had a referendum in the state of Mississippi. 65% of the people flag as it is. The other day, when the Supreme Court voted to make gay marriage mandatory, recognized everywhere, they took it to the law of the land, and we didn't have any choice. The state of Mississippi, their vote for this flag. Maybe it's like it's John said, when we have an election, and it's made, put a referendum on the ballot, that's the city, we're not picking the city, right?
What are you afraid of?
But, I just really don't think that
Nothing. I guarantee you ain't nobody afraid.
And I would just feel like maybe we'd be.
Guarantee you that.
We will, he's a passion, we should back off and give it some time, and then vote on it in a referendum. That's all I've got.
I appreciate everyone comment. I want to make a statement. I want to make a statement as a council. And then I really want to talk as an individual. I appreciate what Councilman Cox had to say about the state referendum on the flag. That referendum was worded where people had to choose between two answers. people made a choice between those two emblems. That resolution was never about the fact whether people thought the state flag ought to be changed or not. So let's make sure that we're historically right when we talk about that. But let me say this, I said that as a council person. But Mayor, if you will, I'm going to go to the podium because I want to speak as Lewis Johnson, not the council, to this issue. And excuse me, council, for turning my back to you, but I really want to talk to the citizens of this community. First of all, I want to tell you why this resolution was brought up tonight. People said, let's not be hasty, let's take time to do it. South Carolina showed leadership. South Carolina addressed this issue and they addressed it quickly and meaningfully. They did not prolong it. This resolution is a resolution that is not only being adopted by the city of Grenada, but it is being adopted by other municipalities throughout this state and other counties throughout this state. Mayor Bill Luckey of Clarksdale took down every state flag on Clarksdale city property last week. Hinds County took down every state flag on Hinds County public property last week. This is an effort that is going on all across the state, not only here in Mississippi, but all across the country. From Virginia to Tennessee, everywhere else. This is not a local movement. Someone said, why are we taking down the flag just locally here in Grenada? It is because we are leading a movement, a demonstration, to say to the legislators of this state that it is urgent of you that you address this matter about this flag. Dr. King said, without demonstration, without protest, then there's no awakening of the mind. There's no stirring of the heart. This resolution is part of an overall resolution that is going across this state. We have a flag that we have a U.S. congressman who has refused to put it in front of his office for the last 22 years. And if this flag was not diverse, if it was not a flag of division, none of us would be here tonight. Being here in this room by this number proves that this flag is a distraction, that it is an interference in our everyday life. I, like Charles Layton, is here tonight simply for this reason. I am a AME, African Methodist Episcopal. I was born there. My mother was born there. Her mother was born there. I may live my life as a many things, but I hope to die as an AME. It was 9 AMEs that were killed in that church over in South Carolina. I'm not here as a sense of duty, as a city councilman. I am compelled to bring this issue before you. I've had 9 fellow AMEs slaughtered and massacred in a house of worship. I come out of a church that was known for civil rights before any civil rights organization was ever born in this country. Richard Allen walked out of church in protest in the 1700s. The AME church has been that ever since. And I would be nothing no less. But let me tell you a story. I want to share a story to you about a young kid in Grenada at the age of 13. who participated in the civil rights movement, along with his family, with his community, and other individuals that came into this community to help. As we marched downtown Grenada during those days, we were terrorized by people in pickup trucks with clubs, chains, and sticks. We were terrorized by people on top of buildings shooting steel balls out of slingshots. None of those people was waving an American flag, but every last one of them was waving a Confederate flag. Let me tell you about an integration of a school system where young black kids as young as the age of 6 and 7 years old was beaten down by grown men carrying the Confederate emblem of the Confederate bell flag. Let me tell you about one of those young kids. Let me tell you about Emma Cunningham, a young black girl who had polio that day, who only wanted to go to a school that she felt had an opportunity to give her a better education. But she was denied. Let me tell you about young kids as early 6 years old being attacked by grown men who were 20 and 30 years old. Kids, babies, attacked. Emma Cunningham had polio. The mob charged them and she could not run away. They beat her, y'all. They drugged her and beat her with sticks and chains. And the only way that Emma Cunningham survived that is that a white reporter from the Memphis Press Cemetery came to her rescue. And they began to attack him and beat him. And that allowed her enough time to crawl away to safety. But this is a young black girl that had polio with braces on it. And she was beaten down. And you tell me tonight that I should not make this effort? None of those men was waving an American flag. But they all was waving that emblem that is on our state flag. And you listen to me, I didn't say your flag, I said our flag. And that's what it should be reflective of. It's all of us. But I want to ask you this question. How do I tell the family of Emma Cunningham? How do I tell them? Tell me, what can I say to them to say, you need to love that. You need to embrace that. That needs to be a part of your life. Tell me, how do I go and tell my child, my children, that they should embrace this? How do I tell my grandkids? What is in the history of this flag that includes me? I know what represents you. But tell me, what is it about this that I should embrace? Let me say this. The removal of the Confederate emblem on the state flag is not simply the right thing to do. It is the godly thing to do, people. When you have the power, when you have the numbers, You said, let's put this to a vote. In 1894, they never brought this flag to a vote. In 1894, the population of this state was 74% black. But it never came to a vote then. People's leadership is not about popularity. It is not about what is popular. It takes courage and guts. It took guts for Lyndon Johnson to do what he did in the 60s to sign the Voter Rights Act. If he had put it to a vote, it never would have been allowed. It have took our Supreme Court to make rulings that have allowed us to move forward.